and Siddhant Desai from FXP, and Siddhant, who is also interning with the pop movement. So before we start, we'll go through the room and ask everybody to introduce themselves so there is a better way of communication once the discussion starts. So I would like the participants to just introduce themselves, their name, their country, and the theme of their project. So I would request Ralph to please start.
Hi. Sorry, could you repeat that? My service is a little bit choppy, so I didn't hear that correctly.
Sure. And I was just asking all the participants to just introduce their name, their country, their project. So I was requesting the participants, Sam, Ralph, Mark, Abigail. Would you like to introduce yourself? Bhavya?
Hello, good day. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Sam, we can hear you.
Okay, good everyone. My name is Samuel Okore, and I'm a Nigerian, studying in Nigeria. My project is on climate education. So, and there will be not to upscale the project to a good extent, which we also resume this year as well. So I think for now that's just I don't know. That's how my introduction will. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Mark, would you like to go next? Ralph, would you like to go next? I don't know if everybody can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Abigail, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone. My name is Abigail Babaho from Uganda, and I'm a member of Team Hitachi Africa and also a member of Hope Uganda Initiatives, and I'm.
Thank you, Abigail. Bhavya, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Bhavya and I lead the CFR project with Ved. Unfortunately, he's not here today because he's not feeling too well. But we are based in Pune, in India.
Thank you. Ralph, yes, please go ahead.
Hi everyone. My name is Rafael, and also my project is working on climate education, climate action, in line with the pop-up Nigeria initiative program. My colleague is there present, Samai, has introduced purpose initiative, and also as a co-facilitator with the code training of such group here in Nigeria. We look at how we engage in the community, okay? We look at how we engage with schools and also the vulnerable people amongst us in society, encourages them. We also look at how we facilitate the process of green economic transition. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ralph. Mark, would you like to go next?
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Sarakuruma from Sierra Leone. I'm presently in a village called Mafare, where we are embarking on climate action. We are doing tree planting, and also we are also embarking on gardening and agricultural production. This is just the start of our project in tackling the climate action. Thank you. Once more, I'm Mark Sarakroma from Sierra Leone. Blessed.
Thank you so much, Mark. We look forward to having you part of the discussion and learning something together. So now I would like to invite our facilitators to come one by one and make their presentations, and then we will go into the discussion part. I would like to invite Anna Hanhausen first.
Hi everyone, I hope you're all well. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Anna Hanhausen. I'm from Mexico City, and I'm looking forward to the session. Well, just to tell you a little bit more about myself, I focus on climate action and the protection of the ocean and the use of technology to do so.
Thank you, Anna. Oman Siddhant.
Hello, I'm Desai. I work with the FXB Climate Advocates, and we're focusing on using new technologies like artificial intelligence to work with and protect the climate through initiatives like being able to better detect animals in different areas and being able to identify and detect deforestation.
Hi everyone, my name is Siddhant Desai. I live in New Jersey in the United States, and I am interning for the pop movement currently, and I focus mainly on using technology and artificial intelligence for climate good and reforestation efforts.
Thank you, Siddhant. Haaziq.
Hi. Yeah. My name is Haaziq Kazi. I am part of the Airbus Foundation, where it's based in Dubai, where we are focused on solving the plastic waste crisis and bringing awareness about this problem, especially to the youth.
Thank you so much, Haaziq. Should we start with the presentations? Oman Siddhant, would you like to go first?
Sure.
Do you want to share your screen?
Okay.
Sure.
Done.
You should be able to share your screen now.
Just 1 second.
Okay, I can start us off. So I'll be presenting on a project that I've worked on recently with called Project Green, and I'll be focusing on the more so on the research and the methodology behind this project. But the basic concept is we use technology and artificial intelligence to plant more trees in our local community. So the first step was to identify the problem. Anytime you're trying to find a solution, the first thing you want to do is identify a list of problems. So create a list of problems that you feel are important, research the problems, and try to get together a list of solutions. That way you know what existing solutions are there for this problem. From your list of problems, you want to pick one problem which, if solved, would have a larger impact on things that you believe in. And based off of this problem, you want to make a problem statement. And all that means is you want to talk about who/what is affected and how drastic are the effects of this problem. And if solved, what good can come to our communities. The second step would be to find a solution. So what you want to start off doing is you want to brainstorm all potential solutions to this problem and then research existing solutions and remove them from your brainstorming list. Once you've come up with a list of feasible solutions, you want to check that, is this something that I'd be able to make on my own? Is this something that I have the funding to do? Is there a reason the solution does not exist already? And sometimes that's just that the innovation doesn't exist, or that new technology hasn't had a chance to play a role. And how will this solution solve the problem? So the third step is to do research and planning. So you want to think about how long will it take to do this project? How many people do you need? What applications or softwares will you use to complete the project? And what data would you need to complete your prototype? Once you have a prototype, you also need to test the prototype, so you can think about what to do to test the prototype.
Okay. So thank you, Sid. So now let's talk about biodiversity. Now let's talk about our biodiversity initiatives and how artificial intelligence can be used to protect biodiversity, how we came up with the idea, and how we followed through. So give me 1 second and I'll share my screen. Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay. So yeah, Sid, if you want to say anything else, because I know you had a bit of an interruption, you can. Hmm.
Sorry about that. I'm actually snowed in at my EMS agency, so the connection might be in and out. But I can finish up. So the third step is research and planning. And once you have a prototype, you want to test that prototype. So you got to think about, what data do I need to test it? What results am I looking for? What accuracy am I looking for? All of those things come into account when testing your prototype. And the last step is execution, right? So you want to build your prototype. You want to do the coding, do any of the technical work that's behind it, any of the mechanical work, and kind of build your first generation prototype, make edits to it from there, and come up with a pretty solid solution. So I'll be giving an example for one of the projects that Om and myself worked on. So this project was called Project Green, and the problem that we identified to solve was to work on reforesting areas where trees have been cut down, areas where trees don't grow, to try and fight climate change by reducing the carbon footprint. So our solution was to use AI and analyze satellite data to plant trees. So the 4 things that we wanted to consider when doing this were soil, climate, resources, and the species of tree, all parameters that we had to consider in our initial prototype. So our idea was to make an AI-based project that would use several different algorithms to find areas with proper soil quality, sparse vegetation to plant trees. And we could use many different factors to create a prediction of what species of tree to plant in a specific area. And we developed our prototype using this step guide. And what resources we used were Google Earth Engine and Azure's machine learning service, along with the coding language Python and its library OpenCV2 to analyze satellite data, like you can see Like you can see in this image in the bottom left. And based off of color, based off of reflectiveness and other parameters, we could kind of figure out which areas would be best to plant. Thank you.
Thank you, Siddhant and Om. I'm sure there are a lot of people who are into over here ecosystem management, tree planting. So this will be very, very helpful for them. But I would also like to inform everybody that this is just the introduction discussion, and we will talk about the technical part where Om and Siddhant will be as facilitators who will join us during the discussion 4 as well. So this was just to introduce how they actually started working on the research. And now I leave it to you. If you have any questions from both of them, please go ahead. Um, I think nobody has any questions as of now. So we'll move on to the next presentation of okay. Anna, would you like to go next or you would like to leave?
Sure, Trisha, I can go. I can quickly explain. I have a few minutes, so I can quickly explain what we're doing.
Okay, sure. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So what it's I always have some trouble knowing where to start explaining how we got to the product we're making. But basically, me and my business partner, whose name is Danny, figured out that many people want to take action and want to help, but they don't know where the help is needed, right? And they don't know what actions they can take in order to reduce their footprint and contribute to a better world. So this is why we came up with an idea to create a technological tool to help people find different actions that they can take to reduce their carbon and water footprints. Because Mexico, specifically Mexico City, is one of the countries where the water crisis is a really big issue and will continue to be a really big issue in the future. So what we do is we help the user calculate their carbon and water footprints, and then we show them different actions that they can take from a personal level, such as changing their habits, for example, growing their own food, or maybe showering quicker, or turning off the lights when they leave a room, to also a local, national, and global level by contributing with NGOs, through donations or through volunteering, or maybe even changing their consumption patterns to more sustainable consumption and greener options. So we really want to make having a sustainable lifestyle easier for everyone. And this is how we came up with this idea of creating an app to help people learn about their carbon footprint and reduce it, right? And we know some people do it just because they want to have a greener lifestyle and they want to help the planet, but some people need an extra push, to say it this way. So something we add to the app is the possibility of earning rewards, right? So as you're taking action, depending on the positive action generated by the different actions you have taken, you get different points that we call colors, and these colors are redeemable for green products and green services that will actually help you to create a sustainable lifestyle quicker. And we also offer the option to redeem them for rewards, because we know, well, rewards, I mean experiences, because we know that many people want to connect with nature again. And this is something that's very motivating to keep promoting action, right? So we have been using technology, especially for the app, to create the interface, and we have been using technology for the calculator and many other things in order to make it easier to vinculate people with solutions. And I think this is a really big area of opportunity and something that could really be explored and used better, because we now live in a world where it's easier to connect with people from all over the world and with solutions from all over the world, right? So I think it's a really good idea to dig deeper into that and find different solutions that we can create as a community using the technology tools as a means of communication. I don't know if anyone has any questions.
So here's a question. Hello, Anna. Nice to see you. So many people that are working on technology are really thinking about doing some apps for themselves. So is there like any suggestion for you to start for those who are just wanting to start into this world?
Yeah, of course. There's so many things. I think something that's very important is focusing on what you would like as a user, right? I think before you start developing or even designing, something that's very important is figuring out the user journey and the user experience and creating all the different screens and designs based on what will be easier for the user, right? So there are many tools to learn about user experience and user design. So I think that's a very important first step. And something that I would also recommend is creating a very clear diagram and flow chart that allows you to see exactly how the journey of the user within the app, right? So for example, let's say that the user is gonna buy something. So you need to create all the flow of how the user will log into his or her account and find the different options and where he or she what the whole app will look like. Because once you get into the development of the app, it's a little bit trickier to make like the bigger changes, right? So it's good to try to have all the details planned out before you start developing. However, once you start developing, more things come up, but do try to a really clear flow. So the solution to this different like new details that come up as you're developing, as complicated as it could be.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem, Ivan. Thank you for that question. That was a really good question.
Thank you. So maybe now, Haaziq, can you go ahead, please?
Yep. Okay, thank you. So if plastic, Disha, can you go to the next slide? Yep, thank you. And just full screen. Yep. If plastic would have been killing the same amount of humans as birds in marine life, did you know that it would be among the top 10 killers in the world with over 1 million deaths annually? What makes these deaths even more tragic is the manner in which they happen. Once the marine animals and birds consume plastic, they are not able to get it out of the system, because of which are not able to eat anything else, leading to a slow and painful death. Hello, everyone. My name is Haaziq Kazi, and I'm the inventor of Erebus the ship and co-founder of the Erebus Foundation. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak at this session. Over the past half a century, a new addiction has been on the rise, the addiction to plastic. With its powers of great durability, feasibility, and convenience, plastic has become an almost irreplaceable part of our lives. Oh, Adrisha, can you go to the next slide? Sorry. Thank you. Its specialties have addressed some of the most crucial challenges for mankind. Lightweight automobile parts save fuel, improve efficiency, and reduce pollutant emissions. innovative insulation materials can help us save energy bills. Plastic packaging is very, very cost effective, ensures food safety, and reduces food waste. In combination with bioengineering and medical innovation, plastic implants can even save human life. As a result, plastic has become very integrated into our lifestyles. And plastic pollution, which happens when we dispose of plastic, has become one of the most pressing environmental issues, as the rapidly increasing production of disposable plastic products overwhelms the world's ability to deal with them. Next slide. Thank you. The convenience plastics offer has led to a throwaway culture that reveals the material's dark side. Today, single-use plastics account for more than 40% of the plastics produced every year. There has been a 20-fold increase in the production of plastic between 1964 and 2019, with an annual output of over 322 million metric tons, which is expected to double by 2035 and even quadruple by 2050. Each year, at least 8 million tons of plastic leaks into our oceans. It is expected that 12,000 metric tons of plastic waste shall be generated and dumped by 2050 unless action is taken. If the current linear model continues, the ocean is expected to contain more than 1 ton of plastic for every 3 tons of fish by 2025, which is not that far off now. And by 2050, more plastic in the ocean than fish by weight. Next slide. Yeah, okay. So because of that, we need to have a change in our thought process. We need to give the next generations a fighting chance so that they get to also experience this wonderful world and the wonderful marine ecosystem. So a lot of people think that it's just too too early. It's too early for our generation to do anything, or we should just wait and let the adults do things. But it's getting a little late for anyone to act on it, right? So I think it's better for us to start working on this, regardless of barriers such as age, gender, geographical factors, and start working on it until before it's too late. Looking at this current situation that we are in, next slide. Sorry. Looking at the current situation that we are facing, only 14% of plastics is recycled, and still 12% of that is still lost in the process. 40% of the plastic trash is landfilled, and the rest ends up as leakage, which pollutes our oceans or even gets scattered around on land. This is much more of a linear model. Once we produce our waste, then we dispose of it, right? In our current economy, we just take the materials from the earth and then we make products with them, and we throw them away with waste. And that's a linear process. If we look at a circular economy, next slide. This involves sharing, leasing, reusing, repairing, refurbishing, and recycling existing materials and products for as long as possible. The 3 principles that underlie this model are eliminating waste and pollution, circulating products and materials, and the regeneration of nature. Next slide.
Okay.
And we can also see that it's a huge market size. It's estimated to take like about 60% of the world's economy, and even aligning ourselves with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal can show enormous economic potential.
Better.
Oh, sorry. So what has been my journey to solve this problem with all this research that I've done, and so getting really horrified about how this problem is affecting us. So it all started 4 years back when I watched a documentary about the plastic and how it impacts marine life. In a huge manner, it profoundly affected me, disturbed me to a level where I knew I had to do something about this. And it inspired me to design a ship called Ervis. Ervis is an intelligent ship which sucks waste from the ocean surface and cleans it. One day, as I came home from playing football, my mom asked me to wash my hands. And as I went to the sink to get the dirt off, I saw how the water created a kind of whirlpool as it flowed into the sinkhole. And I thought, why couldn't we use the same mechanism to, say, capture the waste from the oceans and store it in the chamber with a ship? So I drew and created a rough model, a circular ship with saucers attached, a very futuristic design, much like the USS Enterprise from Star Trek. Come on, we all love the series, right? Moving on with the years, I realized that I had to redesign my ship to make it more aerodynamic. And a circular shape was not the most efficient thing. So I worked with scientists and 3D designers to create a much more futuristic model. So the ship is essentially a really, really large boat, and it has various compartments in it and saucers surrounding it. These saucers use the basic mechanism of centripetal force, which is essentially a whirlpool, to capture the waste and store it in multiple chambers in the ship, which is essentially a multi-stage cleaner, which uses size-based separation to separate the different sizes of waste. The saucers float on the surface and move circularly to pull the waste towards its center. These saucers will have a central outlet which will swallow the waste and is connected through a tube to various chambers in the ship. Next slide. Once the waste enters the tube, we have various stages which will then segregate the waste. We have an infrared sensor which alerts Ervis for marine life. Once the waste enters the chambers, we follow these steps by taking a sample of the waste and analyzing it. Then we send it to a segregator to separate plastic from non-plastic items. The plastic is compacted and stored in cubes. The other waste is then taken and stored for separate disposal. The water which finally comes out will be much cleaner and be pumped back into the oceans. The waste is segregated by oil. We would like to treat this waste oil, which we collect, by either decomposing it or storing for safe disposal. We have the second, third, fourth, and fifth chambers store large, medium, small, and micro waste, respectively. Next slide. So the ship is still in a 3D modeling phase where we're actively trying to create, actively trying to increase the ship's efficiency and its waste capturing mechanism, and hopefully trying to create an actual working small 3D model to test the waste capturing mechanism and prove that this can actually do something. Of course, we do have some challenges, such as a lack of resources, lack of funding, or even lack of testing resources. But with the proper plan of having creating a 3D prototype, then water body testing, and then actually creating a unit of Ervis, it could all become a reality. Next slide. Yep. So while I'm finding ways to make the ship a reality, I'm also working on several other projects to tackle the plastic waste crisis. This could help with awareness and helping people reduce the intake of plastic so that when we clean it, it just doesn't get thrown back in, right? one of which is the roll wrap, which helps users find solutions to reduce, reuse, or recycle the intake of plastic. Another initiative that we have done is successfully launching the Zero Waste Marketplace on Amazon, with the goal of promoting the use of sustainable and eco-friendly daily products. Next slide. Of course, this wouldn't be possible without a team. We have established a foundation called Erebus Foundation, and focusing on initiatives like the projects I mentioned earlier, and even educational initiatives. And we have a strong team working on it. We've been fortunate enough to be taught about 2,000 students across 7 schools in 2 years. Next slide. We also aim to enter meaningful partnerships to make the ship and other projects a reality, because it isn't possible with all the support that we get from governments, NGOs, corporations, and more. We've also registered ourselves with United Nations goals 12 and 14, 12 being sustainable packaging and disposal of waste, and 14 being life underwater. So I think we really need to put our best foot forward and do something more than amazing for these guys, because it is our future. There's just one marine ecosystem. There's not really much of a planet B, right? And we really, really need to work hard before it's too late, so that not just us, but even our future generations can experience the wonders of planet Earth. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your amazing presentation, Haaziq. And there's this question here about what is the role of companies regarding to the plastic production? I mean, we do know that they are going to have to change their materials because they are going to run off. The plastics are not going to be forever available. So, well, they will be sadly in the ocean unless projects like yours can be successfully carried out. And well, we need to do that. But what will be like the corporation's role in this?
So corporations, they have a very, very huge role, especially if they manufacture things which include plastic, or even like outsource materials that include plastic. It's really important for corporations to even divert resources. Because if you look at things nowadays, a lot of people are just interested in money and monetization part of this, right? And because of that, that's why we still use plastic. It's really cost effective, it's cheap, it's durable, has many, many benefits, except of course, it's bad for the environment. So corporations have a huge, huge role. And I think they really also need to put resources and funding to finding a replacement for plastic, because it could also when plastic eventually could run out, because it's oil based and oil could run out in the next few years. If we don't divert enough resources for it now, we're going to run out of oil, or the prices of oil could skyrocket because of its supply. And then we won't have enough resources to actually produce a sustainable alternative, right? And also if we don't focus on sustainability in the future, then then it's not gonna happen, right? If corporations continue living in the now rather than focusing on the future and focusing on sustainability, it's gonna affect them greatly. And this is just talking about like in an economic perspective. Of course, we have the lives of lots of people and the ethical considerations of the usage of plastics. But even in corporations' best interests, it's important for them to actually do have a focus towards sustainability and against plastic. So yeah.
Thank you so much. If I may ask a follow-up question, how, like, is there any suggestion for you for people who have projects relating to, or that they need to approach to companies or to governments in order to be further supported?
Wait, sorry, can you repeat that?
Yes. So is there any suggestion, any tip that you could give to people who have projects relating to this kind of environmental impact, which includes communities, so that they can reach government or companies in order to further promote their projects?
Yeah, for promoting your project, I think it's important to start small. If you can't, you need to build up credibility in order to actually reach the highest levels of corporations and governments. So like if you directly reach out to the government, chances are you might not be taken too seriously. So it's important to go at this process step by step, and gain credibility with and gain connections. That's really important to be in the right environment with the right mentors and the right people who can help you take this project forward, because connections nowadays are one of the most important things to have as an organization. So it's really, really important, yeah, to
Thank you so much.
start small, and then you can eventually reach the top.
Thank you so much, Haaziq.
I think Kevin wants to ask a question.
Please go ahead, Kevin.
Yes, thank you very much. Great presentation, Haaziq. I have a really important question for people who are starting their projects and they crossing with some difficulties about team. So my question is, how do you manage? How is your team management? As I've seen, for example, in your presentation, that probably right now you don't have the boat. So but you have all the research done before, but the boat yet is not finished. But so if your team, the people who help you develop, doing the research or designing, they haven't seen the result of their effort yet. So how do you manage your team and keep them motivated? You're muted, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I keep on doing that. Yeah. So the thing about a team is that you need to get people who are already passionate about this work, right? Because if you have lots of people who are not already like motivated to do it, it's not going to be like, they're not going to churn out like the best results, right? So that's the first thing. You need to ensure that everyone like who is part of the team is already having some kind of passion towards trying to solve this trying to solve the problem, or standing for the visions of the organization or something like that. And then after that, it's just a question of how to keep them motivated, and how to keep that flame from like how to keep that flame keep going. Sorry. How do yeah. So and that's something that even I struggle myself with sometimes. It might be daunting to have to see so many challenges here and there, with regards to things like age, or with regards to resources, and that might demotivate a lot, might demotivate the team or yourself perhaps. But it's important to try and keep pushing ahead, because you can't have the ups without the without the downs, right? And it's really and even though if you might be going in the downhill, just keep on pushing ahead, and try putting in like 120%, right? And just if you still constantly have that belief, if you still constantly just like have the determination, yeah, that's really important, determination to just work, and even like things like taking a break sometimes, or having fun, that's also really important. Don't just like keep going, like don't just keep working again and again and again. Don't stress yourself out, that's also really important. And even with regards to team, I think all of this still applies, right? You have to, you guys are like, you're one unit, and you need to consider everyone's emotions and their feelings, and try to push everyone to give it their all. So that's I think how we could motivate team.
Thank you very much for your answer. It's really, really important. And I like the idea that you said that it's essential to have upside downs, like going down and then going up. So it's really important when you consider doing a project to consider also that you will going to have bad moments, and that's normal. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And just wanted to ask if there's any question for the facilitators for today's session. Any additional questions, please go ahead.
I wanted to ask Om, Siddhant, and Haaziq, all three of them actually. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
So you all are starting at a very young age. So there are a lot of people who have actually, decided their career path, or, opted out for some courses, and then are doing, things related to climate action. So my question is that, as both of your projects are pretty big, so how important it is to actually choose your careers, and get that kind of education, if you really want to execute this. Do you think that it can be done if you choose any other path? Anyone? Siddhant, I think Om is having some trouble. Would you like to answer this question? Okay, we have.
Okay. Okay, my internet's a bit spotty right now, so I wasn't really able to fully hear the question.
Haaziq, can you answer it first, and then I'll repeat the question for Om and Siddhant.
So I think that I think it's important not to be limited by whatever, like, for example, if you took a different career path, and you're passionate about something else, I think it's really important to still keep on believing in what you are passionate about. And I mean, it's also important if you want to keep going through that career path, it's still pretty important. And you're not limited to what you're doing right now in terms of like academics, or what job you're doing right now. You're free. You're you're free to do like whatever you want. You can be free to diversify what you love to do. Lots of people have done that before. Like people have different interests in things, in different things. So yeah, like if you took one academic path, but you're also interested in doing something else, like you can also, like for example, computers, or and then you're interested in sustainability, you could also try to combine the two, like the work Om and Siddhant are doing, right? And it's important to keep doing what you're passionate about and try not to give up hope just because like you're not you're pursuing something else. Human beings are capable of doing lots of things, and I mean, it's important not to just to limit yourself to one single yeah, one single thing.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I could speak a little bit to my personal experiences. So I will be pursuing pre-med in university next year, and you know, uh, although it seems like there's no real correlation between sustainability, climate change, and the world of healthcare and medicine, I think what it all boils down to is that the efforts that go into sustainability, lowering our carbon footprint, climate change, there's also significant health benefits that come with that. And that's been one way that I've been able to kind of connect the two, while also integrating technology, which is another passion of mine. So I think that, doing work in sustainability or climate change for me comes from a place of trying to help, more so than like, more so than what, or more so how it relates to my interests. And I think that it can be connected to any and every field, because in the end, the effects of our climate play a huge role on human development and human health, which can be significantly improved if we work towards this goal. So that's my own personal kind of idea behind it.
Thank you so much. I think that's pretty motivating for all those who actually take a step backwards when when they have bigger ideas. So thanks a lot. Ivan, over to you.
Thank you so much. And just before the session ends, it will be important for you to know, speaking about funding and speaking about further support from experts, wanted to share that there's an open call from the Banerjees, who will join us in the last session. I'm going to share the link in the chat, and it's going to be shared in the YouTube video later on. So this is an open call which will close on next week on 15th of January. And it is a really great opportunity, not only to get some funding, but also to get advice from an expert from actually the first Shark Tank. So it's a really great opportunity. If you want to join, to apply, I will invite you to join us with that. And also wanted to take this opportunity to ask everyone to reduce your carbon footprint by deleting the emails that you are not using. And we want to do, if you can, not only delete it, but to set a note of how many emails are you deleting. We are going to have, in the end of the in the end of the conclave, we are going to calculate how many carbon emissions we prevented, or we were able to prevent with this approach. So thank you so much. I'm going to share the link now, and well, thank you for being here. I don't know if Hermano, would you like to do some closing remarks?
Can you say that again? Sorry.
Yes, if you could say the closing remarks for this session.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I'd be very happy to. I just want to say that this, like every interaction, you know, an opportunity to learn from Haaziq, the Irvis Foundation, and the amazing work that all of you are doing is so precious. And I just want to say all the questions you asked are indeed very pertinent, and I just want to thank you for the incredible leadership. And I do agree that this is you know, dealing with the issue of plastics is one that we need to not think about and deal with on an urgent basis for all species, that for the planet and for every species that inhabits it. Because at the end of the day, I think the only thing I'm going to say is all of you consider new technologies and innovation, that is really important. We think about what the ramifications of that technology are beyond the immediate, you know, convenience and uses that you know, sometimes they offer. And I often draw this example, and I want to bring it up again, which is that you know, we've had this situation with amazing solar panels, which were also sort of devised several decades ago, and today the issue of how we dispose solar panels continues to haunt us. And you know, they're ridden with toxicity, and we know that there are several communities in some of the poorest parts of the world that are yeah, going to live with you know, generations of cancers and a whole bunch of other things, because those panels have been disposed. They've now seeped, the toxicity seeped deep into the soil. And you know, it is laden on every drop of moisture, water, and anything that people eat or drink and live off of. So I just want to say that, you know, it's really important whether we think about innovations in the area of plastic, which no doubt I believe is absolutely essential, but also in, you know, in other arenas. As we think about protecting our planet, I think it's really important to think of what is the full cycle of that product and innovation that we're considering. And plastics, of course, is a case in point. And I think we're still we're only beginning to unravel what the implications are in terms of you know, human health, you know, animal health, of course, we know planet health, and these are things that I'll ask all of you to be mindful of, you know, to have a vision for. And I want to thank you for you know, for your leadership, because it's profoundly inspiring. The facilitation is brilliant, as always. Haaziq, your voice counts, and I just want to thank you sincerely for sharing, hermanos, for leading, and I'm very honored to be here and continue to learn from you, be inspired by you, and humbled to be in your company. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, hermano. And well, if there's no further question, then this will be the closing of the session. Thank you so much for joining us, and we are going to meet you in the next one. Please take care, and let's keep working for our planet. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. And thank you, Ivan. Hello, Kevin. Hello, everyone. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.